What is up, guys, and welcome to my pick'ems for the Legend stage of the IEM Rio Major 2022. Um, we're gonna start off by, I guess, looking at this, but before that, I'll actually show you my pick'ems for the previous stage. I didn't manage to make a video about any of the previous stage of the major. I'm very sorry about that. I was able to watch all the games, but during the week before the major started, I was traveling, and unfortunately, because of that, there was no way for me to make videos. I was able to use a laptop though to make my predictions, and this I had to make them like super quick. I just basically downloaded CS:GO onto a random laptop. I signed in, I bought the pass, I made some picks, and that was it. I didn't think about it very thoroughly. I just kind of threw in something, and luckily it was enough to get the 5 correct picks. Um, I'll go over my picks a bit. So I went Gamer Legion as my 3-0, which I would have probably done even after thinking for a longer amount of time. Just made sense to me. They were looking very good in the RMRs, like good enough to actually go 3-0, but also they are a young team that could crumble and could have not made it. And in the end, they didn't make it through. If they went 3-0, that was very good for my pick'ems. But after they lost, I had to root against them and for them to go 0-3, and luckily for me, that happened. Greyhound, of course, like the most picked 0-3 team by far. A lot of people went for the Greyhound 0-3, and they did end up beating Cloud9 in the 1-1 in the 0-1 stage to go make Cloud9 go 0-2, but in the end, Greyhound didn't get another win after that. They did probably ruin a lot of pick'ems though. Then I mean, Vitality should have made it easier, but they went 3-2. Same with Cloud9, they went 3-2. OG unfortunately had to play like Vitality at 2-2, so didn't make it. I don't know. I shouldn't have gone for Imperial. There was just some part of me that said there's a bit of a Cinderella story possibility of them making it in front of the Brazilian crowd. Of course, that didn't happen. Like, just based on the last major where they actually did go through, they beat like Cloud9, and I would say that version of the team was worse than the current one with Cello. So there was some part of me because of that thinking that they could make it through. That didn't happen this time. The other picks, I would say like Furia and Outsiders made a lot of sense. Fnatic made sense to me as well, even though they went only 3-2. But the Fnatic win was the one that kind of saved me in the end. That's enough about the previous stage. I don't want to dwell on this too much. I've made it through. Let's go to the Legend stage, and we'll start by looking at this matchup calculator. I'll go through quite quickly what I think of the matchups. There's a lot of matchups, and I'm just gonna use it as kind of a guideline. I'm not gonna go by the standings of this, because there's of course best of ones. Upsets are gonna happen. Yeah. First one, I would say FaZe wins. I would say I'm gonna go through this very fast just to get an idea of what the possible matchups are gonna look like. I would say Navi wins this. Should be Nip's favor. This is a bit more difficult. ENCE versus Furia. Furia have been looking quite good. They might have the buff from having played before. I think ENCE are the kind of team to come into a tournament a bit cold some of the time. Big versus Sprout. That's a tough one, because I was actually thinking of throwing Big 0-3. But yeah, I mean, Sprout. It is, I think the loser of this might go 0-3. Oh, it's so difficult to say. I would probably give Big, I mean Sprout, the upper hand. I think that's the case. I think Heroic beats Outsiders. Heroic are pretty solid. I'm thinking of even picking them in my fantasy, possibly. Spirit and BNE, I would have to give the edge to Spirit. And then Liquid Mouse. I think Liquid slightly favored. Mouse looked good in the previous stage, but I think they are gonna get it's gonna be tough for them to go through this stage. Round 2, it would be FaZe Navi. I think FaZe and Navi, I have to give them the edge over some of these other teams. NIP should beat Spirit. I think Heroic beats Sprout. Then it's like Cloud9 ends. What a weird matchup, because Cloud9, I still give the edge to Cloud9 here. I think ends have been decent, but not. Cloud9 have had their struggles. It's very coin flippy in these best of ones. Could go either way. I would say Vitality are better than Mouse. I think Fnatic are better than BNE. They are gonna, I think, beat BNE. And I would say Outsiders beat Big. So I think it might be Big 0-3 for me. There's at least a chance here. I think ENCE beats Big, for example. FaZe should beat Heroic. Navi should beat NIP, but I am an NIP fan nowadays, so let's see. I would say Cloud9 beats Sprout. Vitality beats Spirit. Liquid beats Fnatic. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Furia beats Outsiders. And I would say Mouse beats BNE. So BNE big as possible 0-3 picks. Let's see how it goes. I'm gonna say NIP have been looking better than Cloud9. This is very, very, very close. I think it's gonna be a banger series if it comes to this. I would give a slight edge to Heroic though, based on previous stage troubles by Vitality. This also super close. It's such a hard major to predict for me. Like, I have very big troubles deciding who I want to go through or who I want to pick to go through. I would have to go with Liquid though. I think Liquid have been looking good. I think Fury are gonna play in the 2-2 stage. ENCE versus Fnatic. I'll give the edge to ENCE. Sprout Outsiders. I'll go with Outsiders, but it's very close. Sprout have been looking pretty decent. And I think Spirit beats Mouse. I think Spirit are pretty decent. 2-2, I'll go with Furia. I'll go with Vitality. And I'll go with Cloud9. So then that would be my picks. And honestly, that's pretty close to what I probably will be picking. These are the kinds of teams that I will be picking. There's a couple teams that I'm thinking of. I think ENCE is a possibility. ENCE are playing Furia first round. So, I mean, I'm also thinking of just like going with a FaZe Clan 3-0. Because I'm not so sure about FaZe Clan making it even through. But I would have to say that they probably make it and I shouldn't go for 3-0. Okay, we'll use this as a guideline. Let's see. So I think it's between BNE and Big for 0-3 for me anyways. I know a lot of people are saying like Fnatic 0-3. There's people saying like Sprout 0-3. I think those four are probably the ones most people are looking at. Or these three rather, Sprout, BNE, and Fnatic. But I have a feeling that Big is a possible 0-3 team. But I'll go with BNE here. Am I going with BNE? They're such a good best of one team, I think. BNE, they're so capable of upsets. Should I just go with the Big? Let's go with the Big. Oh, I already placed some picks here. Yeah, I think these three are going through. I don't know if I need to explain myself too much. I do think NIP is looking very good so far with the new roster. That's, I guess, the only thing I can say about them. I do think that Heroic makes it through. I do think Liquid makes it through. I think if these five don't make it, I'm pretty sad. Who do I go with? What? 3-0. You could go Furia 3-0. It's so hard to predict these. There's like a Spirit 3-0 pick. There's a Vitality 3-0. You could go. I wouldn't go with these. Maybe there's a Heroic 3-0. You could go for. I'm gonna go with Vitality Cloud9, make it through. This is pretty cookie cutter, except for maybe the big 03. I don't know if people expect that. And I'll go with Furia as my 3-0. I'm not so convinced on Furia. They looked decent last stage. They didn't play like the best teams though. I'll go with Furia for 3-0. Because I think they have a good chance of making it through. What's their initial matchup? Furia. They're playing Ents. It's a very winnable first matchup. The problem is they probably, or according to this at least, play against FaZe first. But that would mean like it's only the case if none of. Wait, who needs to upset? Oh yeah, okay, so it's basically Fnatic, Vitality would need to upset. There's a chance that Vitality upsets, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, is there a better 3-0 team? You could go Ents 3-0. I don't mind the Ents 3-0. Because they have an insanely, like they have a pretty good seed, but I'm not sure what to say about them either way. Maybe it is the Ents 3-0. You know what? I'll go with Ents 3-0 this stage. Because they have a good seed. There's actually a chance of them doing this. They could win Furia. If they win against Furia, they're definitely probably winning in a Sprout. Then they could win FaZe, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe it goes like this, and then they play Heroic, and they could beat Heroic. I don't know. I'll go with this. I feel better about this than Furia for whatever reason. I mean, I am excluding Furia from my top 7 teams that make it through. I'm sorry to all Brazilian fans I have, but I still think they have a decent shot of making it through this stage. But I just have more faith in these teams, I suppose. A lot of my picks are from that got directly through to this stage. Only Vitality and Cloud9 are gonna have my benefit of the doubt. They're just such strong teams. They've gotten through the early jitters, I guess, of the major. They got to fight against bad situations. Let's go with this. We've locked it in. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will be making HLTV and Ego Up videos after this. They're gonna be released quite soon after this, so stay tuned for those two. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. You'll see all my new uploads whenever they get posted. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.